Are we connected? Oh, how about that? Hello, friends and guests, soon friends. Welcome to the largest Kiwanis club in the Capital District. We have passed Richmond and we're growing. Today, the invocation will be John Montgomery. Gary Dirk is our song leader, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be Joyce Montgomery. John?
Ben, I'm going to use the opportunity before we pray that a card for Tom Miller is going to be circulated, and I'll pass it to this table momentarily. If you would make an effort to get it around the room and get it back to me. Tom is having Tommy John surgery, right? Which involves some shoulder work. So the surgery is Friday, but he said it was okay to share with the club, and I know that we'll want to encourage Tom. Thank you, Reef.
I'll start it.
I told Reef I knew it was going to get to the next person. As you're comfortable, I want to invite you to join in the invocation today. I want you to know that I was inspired by a hymn in my particular house of worship, but I think it's ecumenical. The message was entitled The Hymn of Promise, and it's written by a woman named Natalie Sleeth, who's a music composer. Her husband, now her late husband, in fact, she has passed as well, but this was written in the 80s when her husband, who was a pastor, was battling cancer, and ultimately he succumbed to cancer. But to me, the lyrics give all of us inspiration when we're facing difficult situations. In the bulb there is a flower, in the seed an apple tree. In cocoons a hidden promise, butterflies will soon be free. In the cold and snow of winter there's a spring that waits to be, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. There's a song in every silence, seeking word and melody. There's a dawn in every darkness, bringing hope to you and me. From the past will come the future, what it holds, a mystery, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. In our end is our beginning, in our time, infinity. In our doubt, there is believing, in our life, eternity. In our death, a resurrection, at the last, a victory, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see.
Our song today was written by an immigrant from Russia. His name was Irving Berlin. He wrote a wonderful song, God Bless America. I stand up here as a veteran amongst many veterans who are standing here today, and of all who ever served in the armed forces. All gave some gave all for the protection of our freedoms. And coming up to next week on Tuesday, November the 8th, is Election Day, which is basically a foundation of our country. So please vote, encourage everybody to vote. I don't care which way you vote, just vote. I served my time to protect that right. And I think God Bless America will sing that song because we have so much to be thankful for. Judy? God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Good job.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brace yourselves. Milton Hardy is coming up. And he's going to introduce our guests.
I'm going to behave this time around. Thank you, Mr. President.
That'll be a first.
All right, everybody. So today I'm asking very clearly and very concisely that if I call your name, please stand and remain standing until we all have all the guests stand. Is that all right? Is that all right? All right. Whew, y'all got quiet on me. Okay. All right. Our first guest is Mia Pumo. She is the wife of Matt Pumo, which they're both here today. And we thank you for being here. You're a guest of Jill Sluss. Please stand and remain standing, if you will. Stay there. All right. Our next guest is Davey Stewart. He is from Star City Compost. And he is the guest of Mike Adams. I'm looking at all y'all with these guests. All right. Next guest we have is Bert Boyd. And he is the guest of Bill Bestpitch. Good job, Bill. Good job. Next we have Jackie Smith from the CYP, which is the youth. Thank you. The Community Youth Program. They just put CYP. I had to figure out what it was. And she is the guest of, trying to figure out if this is fair or not. One moment, judges. They said Sherry Hartman and Bob Haberman.
Yeah, that works.
So they get a 0.5. Next guest is Jody Judge. This is another BISSWVA. What is that? Thank you so much for introducing yourself. You're so great. And you are the guest of Alex Barge. And the last two people I've actually introduced, they are both grant recipients. Let's give them all a round of applause. With another guest?
No, we need the sheet.
Oh, well, I guess you can have the sheet.
No, thank you. We get that.
There is another guest?
Mike O'Brien?
All right, so we have one more guest to add. I need to know though. Oh, okay, that's good. I'm gonna get you later.
One of the great things we get to do as Kiwanians is share the wealth. And so I'll introduce Bob Haberman, who's going to be doing our grant recipients today. Bob?
And good afternoon. And today we have two. One is from a first timer, and the other one is a nonprofit that we've seen several times and looking forward to see again. So Jackie Smith and Sherry Hartman, would you please come in and first tell us a little bit about CYP, Sherry, and then Jackie, if you would advise us what you're going to do with the money, please.
Thank you, Bob. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you Jackie Smith. She is the executive director. Where am I supposed to stand? Somebody's directing me around. This way, Mike? Come on over, Jackie. She's the director of the Community Youth Program. This is a gem of a program in our community that truly changes the lives of the youth who come to this after-school program led by Jackie Smith. I'm going to let her tell you how our funds are going to be used.
Thank you. So first, I want to tell you how your funds were used last year. I promise I'll be very brief. We got to go, because of you all, to the first Virginia Explorers program, and we went to the safari park, we went to the aquarium, and even Splash Valley. And majority of our students had never been to any of those, and those are right here in our backyard. So thank you for making that happen. And this year, thanks to your grant, we are creating our first reading nook at our office, and we have beanbag chairs and cozy rugs, and I'm already seeing the kids excited about learning and reading for pleasure, not just because we're making them, but because they want to. So thank you guys for making that happen. I appreciate it.
Now the check. So they should stand.
And here we are.
Yes, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And our second recipient from the Brain Services, Jody Judge and Alex Barge. And would you come on this side so we can see you on the Zoom? And Alex, would you tell us a little bit about the organization? And Ms. Judge, would you tell us a little bit about how you plan to use the money? Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia provides free services for survivors of brain injury. This includes people who have had a stroke, been in a car accident, maybe had a brain tumor. In Virginia, that equates to 1 in 30 people have a disability from a brain injury, so the need is great. We serve all of Roanoke, but we also serve all of Southwest Virginia, Lynchburg down to Danville. We cover about 14,000 square miles in 55 counties, cities, towns, so a good number. Happy to introduce Jody Judge, who is our executive director, and she'll tell you a little bit about what we'll do with the money.
Okay, I do not have the tall gene, so let me move this down. As Alex said, I'm Jody Judge with Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia, which is a mouthful. That's why I abbreviated it on the sign-in sheet. We are just so grateful to be recipients this year of your generosity. For some financial figures, Alex mentioned all of our services for our survivors and their families are free. So that removes barriers, whether it's insurance or additional money, because we serve 90% of our folks are under the federal poverty level. So it cost approximately $4,000 per consumer per year for the services that we provide. And last year we served almost 500 consumers. So under case management services, this money will be extremely beneficial for us to continue to provide our consumers and their families with a variety of different things that they need to remain independent and reintegrate back into the community. So that could look like assistive technology or compensatory strategy devices. It could be as simple as organizational things to help keep them organized in their home. It could be medications, it could be rent. So the needs vary per individual. And so we're delighted to be able to continue to serve our folks through this opportunity. And I would love to come and kind of sit in your reading nook because that sounds wonderful as well. So thank you all.
For the benefit of our guests, just a brief description of what just happened. We have 3 sources of revenue here. Of course, we have our dues, our membership. We have our foundation, which contributes significantly to our ability to write these grants. And then we have something that you'll learn more about in the coming months. We do our annual pancake day and auction day, which happens in May. This year, it's the Sunday before, it's the 6th. Yeah, May 6th. And that is our fundraiser for the year. So that's where the money comes from, your hard efforts for the benefit of our guests. That's how that gets done. This year, we were able to write grants totaling almost $50,000. Reeve Kessler will come forward. He's going to talk to us about the youth protection guidelines.
So John tried to humor me by saying that the good crowd today was because they saw I was going to be on the program to discuss once again youth protection training. In all honesty, looking out across the crowd here, there are many distinguished people here, community leaders and business leaders and so forth. One might think that Kiwanis International would just send us a distinguished club award each year on the basis of membership alone. Not so. The leadership is aware, and you might be aware, that each year, in order to be a distinguished club, we have to fulfill a percentage of requirements. Some of them are difficult and some of them are easier. One of them happens to be that the club will be informed about youth protection as recognized by the Kiwanis organization. That is why I am up here today. We've been through some of this before. The majority of you have probably had some sort of youth protection training related to other organizations that you have been involved with. I will say that the Kiwanis youth protection policies were revised a year ago in October of 21. I think after the last time I addressed this audience, but I'm not entirely sure. In any event, they are certainly alike the policies that were in present previously, but perhaps a little bit expanded. You should know, I think, that the Kiwanis organization takes this seriously. I think our motto is still serving the children of the world. And so it should come as no surprise that this question of child abuse, youth abuse is important to the Kiwanis organization. I'll read you the first statement on the guidelines states, all adults working with youth under the age of 18 at any Kiwanis event are required to read, understand, agree to, and abide by these policies. And the first one says education. Every Kiwanis club is expected to inform and educate its members on these policies, best practices, and required actions for individuals who become aware of youth in potentially harmful situations. This education must occur annually, including providing a copy of these policies to each club member. So the Kiwanis organization thinks this is a big deal, and it is. We've said before how widespread is the problem of child and youth abuse across the world, and certainly here in the United States as well. It can, of course, take several forms, the most heinous being sexual abuse, and the one that probably gets the most attention in the press. Physical abuse is certainly a huge problem and occurs over and over and over again. Emotional abuse can occur, maybe the secret abuse that is hard to identify, certainly more widespread than we can possibly imagine, and perhaps the type of abuse that has the most long-standing adverse consequences. So why are we here? For several reasons. Like I said, we're serving the church, as children of the world, as an organization with that intention. We should be leaders in efforts to reduce child abuse and should have our house in order, so to speak. Obviously, the Kiwanis International seeks to protect its own brand by not being exposed to the sort of consequences that we have seen other organizations here in the United States tremendously impacted by in the last several decades. And thirdly, to just make you aware and to protect our individual members. Even if you are wrongly accused of a situation of abuse, the toll on you and your family with respect to finances and emotions and impact and so forth, image will be enormous. So then to summarize a few of the topics that we've emphasized in the last several years, one of them was to avoid one-on-one interactions. There's really no place for you to be in an automobile giving a ride to a young Key Club member, even if your intentions are good. You ought not be in a situation in a room where no one else can observe you talking about an upcoming election in the Key Club world, or having them prepare a speech that they're going to deliver with your direction. Another issue that we've dealt with before is that of social media, pervasive throughout our society and with all sort of different labels. Our interactions as Kiwanians with youth, Key Club members, and others should be a strictly Kiwanian business. And I would encourage you not to be friends and share personal pictures, family pictures, and so forth with these other young people. And on one prior occasion, I think we talked about trying to avoid and it relates to the social media thing, to try to avoid being in circumstances where you try to offer counseling for their social problems, their girlfriend, boyfriend problems, their drug problems, or anything else, to try to direct them towards a professional to deal with those sorts of difficulties. The new topic that I'll speak to for just a minute here this year deals with chaperones. Let me say first that the Kiwanis family is purposefully and delightfully large, and there's place in the Kiwanis world for we adult Kiwanis members, our Key Club members, the Action Club members, the Builders Club members, the K Kids members. It's purposefully large. That's a good thing. There is much to be gained by our involvement with youth. I have said before and will say again that it is perhaps our most important goal as a Kiwanis organization to nurture service-oriented young people for the future. Just as an aside, we will next week start having visits from our Kiwanis, from our Key Club officers at the respective high schools where we sponsor them for lunch here on Wednesdays. I hope you'll engage them and make sure the umbrella is open. Let's see here. Then this question of chaperones deals with policies and procedures for joint activities. Now, you may think of the word chaperone as being somebody who goes and watches over people while they're staying overnight. That's perhaps an older definition of chaperone. If you look in the library, a chaperone is a person who accompanies or looks after another person or group of people. That's a little bit different definition, but here is the Kiwanis definition that's on these guidelines. A chaperone is defined as a Kiwanis member, faculty member, parent, legal guardian, or person who is in loco parentis, 21 years of age or older, who has been approved by the school or agency and registered with the school or agency to accompany youth members at the specific event. Not necessarily an overnight event. There are directions for overnight chaperones, but even day activities indicate that there should be a chaperone for every 50 Key Club members or youth that are involved. Someone should be identified as being responsible. Obviously, there are potential scenarios of all sorts. You know, a Key Club member comes to wrap presents at the West End Center Christmas wrapping party, falls down the steps and subsequently accuses a Kiwanian of pushing her after he chastised her early for not being focused on the task at hand. You know, a Key Club member gets bitten by a dog at a cleanup project that has poorly identified supervision. The lieutenant governor, the Key Club lieutenant governor, is abducted in the parking lot at Carvin's Cove after being invited to attend an installation ceremony for our officers. There's no limit to where this could potentially go. But in the Kiwanis hierarchy, the Kiwanis world, it is thought to be appropriate that somebody is the labeled chaperone, that somebody is responsible to direct attention to appropriate medical care, to report potential illegal actions, and to be available to interact with the youth's parents. Now, to paraphrase an announcement made by Lyndon Baines Johnson in the fall of 1967, or perhaps early winter of 68, I do not seek, nor will I accept the nomination to be the Kiwanis Club of Roanoke Youth Protection Policies and Procedures Compliance Officer. Nobody in the room probably wants that job. I have had no real input into what these guidelines state. I have completed the Kiwanis Youth Protection training previously and attended a couple of Zoom sessions on the topic. Some of you also have completed this youth protection training. As I said earlier, I've been asked to deliver this information to you. I'm not responsible for its content. Hopefully, I've opened some eyes to the problem, you know, and recognizing a problem is the first step towards its solution. As an additional method of informing the club membership, I thank all of you here who have heard this, but all of the people on the membership row who haven't heard this are going to receive from John in the next 24 hours a printed up copy of the guidelines from Kiwanis International. I hope you'll take a couple of minutes to sit down and read through them to be informed about what the problem is. So with that, thank you for your attention. And in the words of my Kiwanis mentor, Ken Briggs, glad to be a Roanoke Kiwanian. I really wasn't going to answer any questions, but Mike Obrachta has been waving at me over here, and so I'll answer one question.
So those guidelines you're talking about, where would you find those on the Kiwanis website here for our club? The answer is on the member page.
John will post them on the member page in addition to delivering them to your email address.
Thank you.
All right.
We have some announcements today. Time is of the essence, so I ask that you line up and go quickly. I also want to extend congratulations to Cynthia Gray, who is this month's Kiwanian of the Month. Cynthia is on Zoom today. Salvation Army bell ringing. We are going to do that again this year. There'll be sign-ups showing up here in November. Ken Briggs and John Ewart and others will be spearheading that effort. It's a fun time. We'll do it through Dickens of a Christmas, which I think is 3 Friday nights in December, right? 3 Friday nights in December. There'll also be the online opportunity, the virtual bucket to do that as well. Melton? Gonna do do it quickly.
Quickly. Thank you for the applause. There's a winner. I would like to say I beat everybody, but I didn't. I did beat Sherry Hartman though. By 1. But today's winner, he's not even here. He's on Zoom. So Ken Briggs, this is your trophy. Ken Briggs brought in 12 guests last month. Now I look around the room and I see there's so many guests in here, Sherry Hartman. I have to bring a person and a half in here to beat Sherry. But Bill, I'm looking at you. Got to see our mayor here in the building today. God bless you, Mayor. But understand this. Don't let the new guy beat you this month. That's all I got.
Thank you, Melton. Don?
I'm Don Chichester, and a brief report, reminder that the luncheon for the Adult Care Center is on Friday, November the 18th. You can look for the information on your sign-in sheet. Don't sign it if you've already done so. We have 8 people already signed up. And, but if you can make it and you haven't already signed up, please do.
Just a brief announcement. As you all know, Don Chichester collects the little tabs on the top of the cans, your soda cans. And in the hallway, we're going to start putting a little dish that if you guys would just pop those off and put them in the dish so he can have them. I think he takes them to, is it Ronald McDonald House? Yeah. Yeah, Ronald McDonald House, and he collects all of them. Thank you.
John Montgomery again, pinch hitting for Larry Kufel, who made a wonderful announcement last week about our Mill Mountain Theater event. He's not feeling well today and asked if I would make the announcement that if you want to attend our holiday social event, just email him, or you could email me. Bob Haberman said something to me today during the prelim that he and I think Jim Aaron are planning to come, and I think we had 27 people sign up last week. It's a very nice event. It's December the, what is the date? Let's see. December the 1st, and Amy provides refreshments ahead of time. It's a night at the theater at a reasonable price. If you're interested, either email me or Larry. We'll add you to the list.
We do have brag bucks today. I'm going to ask that you be very, very brief, or I'll give you the hook.
All right. Well, this is very important because my brag buck is on my fellow Kiwanians who helped out on Saturday. The my show and tell is sort of on its side there. I don't have time really to do much show and tell, but I will say that with the help of these Kiwanian volunteers, we got a lot of attention for our Kiwanis Nature Park. We saw a lot of people, lots of foot traffic. Sheila Umberger organized the event, included us, and gave us prime real estate. As soon as you walked in the door, there we were on your right. So we reached hundreds of people through that. And some of us actively recruited guests. Mike Adams was one of our volunteers, and he's brought a guest with him from that event today. I had meeting me with great punctuality. First thing in the morning was Steve McGraw with a bushel of apples from Eikenberry Farms. He got donated for free just by mentioning Kiwanis Club, and Jackie Bledsoe, whose car gave out on the way trying to get this bushel of apples. We had also Joe Lemmer helping out. Thank you. John Ewart, always helping out. And Mike Obrakta got me the banner, and he puts everything on the website that you need to know. We handed out this flyer that has a diagram of our nature park, and we used this as a chance to get community input on what do you want to see in your park. And they put their Halloween stickers next to the things that they would like to include. We gave them a flyer that has a QR code that takes you right to the website, the Kiwanis Club of Roanoke website. I want to mention tomorrow night, November 3rd, you are all invited to come and help us lay down dark plastic, move some big old logs to hold it in place, because we're going to double the size of our wildflower garden. So over there at our site of our wildflower garden behind Forest Park Academy, join us at 4:30. Thank you.
Steve McGraw, 2 quick brags. I'm retiring February 1st, and the person who is going to be taking my place is joining this club. She just submitted her application for membership, and it's Rhonda Purdue. She's been an employee in our office for 26 years. She's been chief deputy for 7 years. She does all the work there. Thank you.
No doubt.
The other brag is on our new Nature Park t-shirts. It took a committee of Sherry Hartman, Rupert Cutler, and me to get this done. And you can't believe how difficult it is to choose just the pattern and the color, but we did it finally. And so this is the official new Nature Park t-shirt. The three of us combined our resources and bought these shirts, and then I bought one extra shirt. And Sherry will get a big laugh out of this because this was her preferred color. But Rupert would not allow us to do that. So we went with green and one pink for Sherry.
I'm Bill Bestfitch. On your tables, you'll see a flyer for the first annual Ginkgo Tree Festival presented by Roanoke Valley Sister Cities this Saturday, the 5th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're calling it the Ginkgo Tree Festival, but it's really just happens to be where the ginkgo trees are. It's about the sculptures that were done a number of years ago now to honor each one of our 7 sister cities. And there's actually an 8th sculpture that presents symbols of Roanoke. So again, Saturday, November 5, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. There is no admission charge, but you might just be inspired to support one or more of our 7 sister cities at only $15 each. Thank you.
I wanted to do a quick brag on my new friend Davey Stewards. Dave, can you stand real quick? It's Davey. I ran into Davey when I was doing when I was working with Sherry this past weekend at the Melrose Library, and we were surveying people to see what they wanted in the new park. And I ran into Davey, and I thought, what a great potential Kiwanis member. Davey has a passion for the environment, and he's starting a new business doing something that nobody else is doing in Roanoke. He's starting a compost business, getting the carbon out of the air and back into the ground. So it's a win-win situation for the environment, clean air and richer soil to grow better crops. And he's doing a kind of an open house at the co-op on Grandin Road this Friday, serving chicken soup and raising money for his startup. He's also looking for investors for his business. But anyway, he's got a cool thing going. You're probably looking at a very wealthy man there, not too far off in the future.
Thank you all very much. A lot going on. I'll at this point bring Jill Sluss forward, please, to introduce our speaker for the day. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Ben. Hey, everybody. Well, it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Matt Pumo. Matt is a graduate of the University of Tennessee at Martin and earned a bachelor's degree in communications. He began his career in the newsroom as an on-air sports anchor reporter. He then moved to sales, beginning with account executive positions in Roanoke and Greensboro. Next, he moved into sales management in the roles of local sales manager, national sales manager, director of sales, and vice president general manager. He is currently a general manager and regional vice president for Gray Television WDBJ7. During his career, he moved 11 times. I cannot imagine. He's also helped companies achieve double-digit growth and has an impressive track record in turning around underperforming properties, increasing news ratings, digital growth, and overall sales. In his spare time, don't know how he has any spare time, he's the father of 2 grown children along with 2 bonus children and serves on the boards of the Roanoke Regional Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Roanoke Incorporated, and the Salem-Roanoke County Chamber of Commerce. I can say I've had the pleasure of working with him at 2 local media outlets. He's a fabulous person. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Jill. I met Jill when she was 9, I believe, at WSLS back in the day. So I appreciate the ask to be here, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to have a mulligan since I was supposed to be here about a month ago. And Congressman Griffith showed up, and I knew that was not going to be a short conversation. So I appreciate the opportunity. I'm the 5th general manager in the history of Channel 7. It started back in 1955. And what I thought I'd do today is share a little of the history of our operation, where we've been, where we're going, and the digital space that we currently occupy that most people don't know about. So with that said, I'm going to start with, instead of hearing me talk, I'm going to show you some videos that, as you can notice, we've got Great Television bought WDBJ back in April of 2016, the first time the station had been acquired in over 60 years. And in that last 6 years, we've gone through multiple transitions. So we'll start.
Let me try it again and see if we get the sound.
There's never been a better time to
Come visit hometown Virginia. Matt, keep talking while I'm trying to get this fixed.
Okay, well, you are going to see videos. I'm not going to sing all the songs. What we're going to show is just the transformation from how the station began to where we are, some of the different characters we've seen over the years. And interesting enough, the old original Channel 7 logo looks strikingly similar to the Sequence and 7 logo, which I guess back in the day you can do that without worrying about copyright laws and whatnot. But I want to show you some historical things. Back in the day, there was a young lady by the name of Ann Compton who went to college and started at WDBJ. And then had a 40+ year career at ABC. Right from WDBJ. That would not happen today. Why that would never happen. One of the things is home. It's where we get along. This is home. And operations in our business anymore that have the history that WDBJ 7 has. This is home.
Sounds good.
We'll just pass. That's and on to that one, the best part of the videos. We'll mean it.
Come
that.
there's no
What I was going to show you is how the trend, and there's even more here, right there. You know, that was a good one. That one. So if you remember back in the day, and some of you do, the theme here is the more things change, the more they stay the same. Back in the day when local broadcast television stations began, everything was produced in-house, meaning there was no network programming, there were no talk shows, there were none of that stuff. We produced everything, not 24/7, because if you recall, we signed off at midnight, and what happened? The national anthem and color bars came on, right? You remember that? Well, then things changed in the 70s. And that was when, go ahead and click. There we go. In the 80s, HBO came. And then what happened after HBO came? Cable channels came, right? And syndicated programming started to come into play. The first one being the Phil Donahue Show. Everybody remember the Phil Donahue Show? He was the catalyst for what followed with Dick Cavett and Oprah and Jerry Springer and all of those. And all of a sudden, as a local affiliate, we quit producing all of our own content. Beyond local news, we didn't do anything else, and it was full of syndicated program and network programming. But now things are changing, and I don't know if you can see the screen. In our market, we are the 68th largest television market in the country. The largest, New York, The smallest, market 210, Glendive, Montana. Okay, so there's 210 television markets in the country. In our market, to carry Oprah Winfrey back in the day, it would cost the station $400,000 a year just for the right to carry that station. We carried Ellen as well at one time, and that was over $300,000 a year just to carry that program. Now, how it works is we don't get to sell all the commercials in the program. The syndicator, which for those programs for CBS syndication, they kept 60% of the inventory. So not only did we have to pay $300,000 or $400,000, we didn't get all the advertising time in it as well. So in order to make money on these, it became increasingly difficult to do that because we just did not generate enough ratings. So when I talk about the more things change, the more they stay the same, you will notice that there's more and more local content. In particular, on our station, we are producing more and more local programming to avoid those costs of the syndicated fare because it doesn't work anymore. The business model has been broken, and that has happened really in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years that has changed. So you're going to see more local news content. You're going to see more engagement. You know, our biggest thing, the most important thing we do as your hometown station is to present content that we can give you enough information so you can make educated decisions to keep your family safe. That's our number one goal. Our number two goal, and I'm sure we have some businessmen in here, correct, and women. Our number two goal is to make money. We are not unlike any other business out here. We are to generate revenue, secondarily to keeping your families informed and safe. So the business is cyclical, right? It is cyclical. Back in 2016, WDBJ produced 24 hours of news a week. WDBJ was what we call in the business suffering from legacy lag, meaning the number one station just kept doing the same thing they've always done forever and ever and ever, and didn't really change up anything. And the next thing you know, everybody's passed you by because you haven't changed. And as I mentioned earlier, in 2016, that was when WDBJ was sold to Gray Media. And that's when things started to change. In the last 6 years, WDBJ now produces, along with our sister station, WZBJ, 60.5 hours of local news and programming a week. Because everybody works different schedules, everybody works different shifts, and each program is different. We own 100% of the inventory. We don't have to share it. And guess what? We don't have to pay for it because it's ours. And we can provide that content to all of our hometowns. Some of the more recent programs are Here at Home, which debuted this September at 3 o'clock with Natalie, Kate, and Catherine. 7 at 4 debuted 3 years ago. That replaced Ellen on WDBJ 7. We expanded the weekend mornings and we added 3 newscasts on our sister station, WZBJ. And just for your edification, WZBJ and WDBJ have the exact same footprint in the market, meaning you can get both of those equally. There is not a weaker signal between the 2 outlets, okay? Quick story about 7 at 4, which debuted, I believe, in 2018. There was a quick survey done by a national media firm talking about local news and content in the market. We had launched 7 at 4 in September of that year. The survey came out in October of that year. And the very first thing on the survey is what they call verbatims, where people will actually write down specific things that they want to bring up about local television. The first 25 verbatims mentioned by name 7 at 4, mentioned Logan and Melissa, mentioned how they liked this new show because it wasn't a news show. It was a lifestyle and entertainment show that they liked much better than Ellen and Oprah. So we knew within the first month we did a grand slam. And to this day, that program has continued to grow and is our second most popular program on the television station in the news genre at 4 o'clock. So that, again, it's not news programming, it's a lifestyle show, as is Here at Home at 3 o'clock. Again, we're trying to create content for different audiences throughout the broadcast day, which is why we've done that. As a matter of fact, we have 1 hour of syndicated programming on WDBJ. That's Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy from 7 to 8 o'clock, and that is it. And by the way, those two programs cost just under $1 million each to air. And now that I'm on the topic, CBS, we are an affiliate of CBS, right? CBS takes a good 7 figures of our revenue just because we're an affiliate of theirs. It's an interesting relationship, and I'll delve into that in a second. So everybody's familiar with those 4 logos. Those 4 logos, they are a blessing and a curse because they are called social media. There is not a bit of media in what they were created to do. Now, as a media outlet, we use them to get stories out and to get information out, but they are not media. And it drives us crazy because they blurred the line. Anybody who can tweet, anybody can throw something on Facebook, all of a sudden it's credible. And I have my journalists being accused of fake news, this, that, and the other thing. And it has really caused a lot of problems for us locally. If you remember, Facebook was created to meet people, not be a source of news and misinformation. So the line is blurred. If you look on the screen, MSNBC, CNN, Fox are all cable, quote unquote, news outlets. MSNBC, CNN, left-leaning, Fox, right-leaning. Then you have your 3 major networks. I do not include Fox in this because Fox does not have their own network news. They go through Fox News Channel, 2 separate entities. NBC, CBS, ABC, I would say, slant one way. Then you have your local affiliates. That means we are affiliated with a network. They do not own us. WDBJ is owned by Gray Media, WSLS, Graham Media, WSET, Sinclair, WFXR, Nexstar. So not owned by the network. And the network and affiliate relationship, I would say at best is strained. Because if you notice, every commercial that is a network commercial is pushing you to what? Paramount Plus, their streaming network. Where are they putting all their top-rated programming? On the streaming network. How many NCISs can we show on WDBJ in prime time during the week? There's like 52 of them, right? I wouldn't be surprised within the next 10 years, there are no affiliates with networks, which is one reason why we create so much local news content. Because in order to survive, you're going to have to create your own content. And just as an FYI, that figure from CBS is well over $10 million that they take from us to be their affiliate, because they take a percentage of everything we sell on the network, be it game show, be it talk show, be it sports, be it prime. So we pay them quite a bit of money to be an affiliate. And we're market 68. What do you think they get for New York or Los Angeles or Chicago or one of the big media markets out there? The greatest thing, if you go back to that slide real quick, the greatest thing is that multiple surveys, in particular, since the mid 2000s, come out, the most trusted source of news in this country is from your local broadcast affiliates, not from the networks, certainly not from the cable networks. It's your local broadcast affiliates. Why is that? There's no opinion. We do not put opinion on the air. I will tell you, I had a employee who was on the air a few years ago who refused to put the word president in front of the current president and just used the last name. That person was in the office with multiple people to let them know, no opinions. That's not what we do. We cover the news that affects the 26 counties in our designated market area, and that's all. So you will not see opinions, which is why survey after survey, we are the most trusted source for news, because there is no opinion. Cannot happen. So I just like to point that out, because people assume if you're affiliated with CBS, you're all automatically leaning left, or if you're with Fox, you're automatically leaning right. Not true. Not true at all. So a couple things to announce. At the end of this year, one of the most iconic programs in television history will be leaving local broadcast television. And I want to state publicly, it was not my decision, nor was it the company's decision. The syndicator has decided that If you want to watch the Andy Griffith Show after December 31st, you have to watch it on cable or one of the DigiNets that are available across the country. It will no longer be on broadcast. So the last day will be the end of December. Now, good news, we will be doing an Andy Griffith Marathon coming up in December that you can vote for your favorite episode. You laughed. You know how many phone calls we get about this show? To this day, we get phone calls about this show. So we understand how iconic it is, and we understand how important it is to many, many people. And it's a great show. It went off the air, I believe, in 1967. And is still in syndication today and will continue to be, just not on broadcast television. So please tell your friends not to call. It was not our decision. We did not make that decision. By the way, are there any Pittsburgh Steelers fans in here? Are you the one that calls me every Sunday at 1 o'clock wanting to know why the Steelers aren't on your Here's the call. Mr. Pumo, it's 1 o'clock. I'm watching my television and I don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, off the record, I would say I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. You'll never see the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I can't say that, and I wouldn't do that. We are not. We are a Washington Commander and a Carolina Panther market. Those will be the first choices that we always get. Now, on occasion, I do have the ability to change games. And now CBS, you need a written book to explain why you want to make the change. So I try to find any Virginia Tech, Virginia local player that I can find on a team, because I don't want to put the best game on, the best product on the station. So, but yeah, every Sunday the Steelers aren't on. You're calling me. So I don't get the choice every week. Okay. Finally, on December 2nd, Robin Reed is calling it a career. Calling it a career. He started in 1978 up in Harrisonburg. He started here in 1982. And as you know, for most of those years, he was our beloved weather person until he moved over to the anchor seat. Words can't describe what he means, not only to the station, but to the community. A true professional, one of the giants in the business. And we have been very fortunate to have him. And he's made it through 3 general managers, and just a tremendous, tremendous guy. You know, the cool thing about Robin, and this is not true with everybody, what you see on air is what you get in person. He is the same person off your TV as he is in person. Just a tremendous, tremendous individual, a great career. And we were fortunate to have him. So he will be retiring. As a matter of fact, being on the board of Downtown Roanoke Inc., we are pushing for Robin's last official act to be lighting the Christmas tree during the first week of Dickens on December 2nd of this year, which is the first of the 3 Fridays for Dickens. So hats off to Robin, great career. He will continue. I don't know if you know this or not. Robin's been part-time with us for probably the last 5 years. He teaches at Virginia Tech. And he will continue to do the Virginia Tech portion, but he is calling it a career. So I thought I'd make that announcement official. You will see this week we start announcing, and we'll be doing a lot of tributes to Robin for the next set of weeks until December 2nd. So with that, I say thank you. I will open it up to questions. Nothing's off the table. I do want to bring up one thing. Somebody had mentioned to me earlier that this organization, being the largest in the country, correct?
Capital District.
Capital District. Well, that's still good, but nobody knows about it. So I'll give you a quick little story. A few years ago, we made a call on a local business. They were looking for drivers to help their facility move product. The campaign worked very well. There was very little TV. Most of it was digital. Long story short, the owner of that business called corporate. Corporate said, that's interesting. We really like to see what that presentation is about. So my team flies to New York, flies to Dallas, and we land this opportunity, 3-month opportunity, to recruit drivers nationwide across our great land through the digital space. That 3-month deal has now turned into year 5, and that company has invested over $2.2 million through us through the digital space. Yet nobody knows it because it's not on WDBJ7. It's not on our website. It is all through our digital programming. So if you are looking to grow And to get people aware, you should look at the digital spaces that are available to you in order to attract people to your product. You can have the greatest website in the world, but if you can't promote it, nobody knows about it. And we've had that discussion with a lot of businesses. You can have a great website, but people have to know about it, have to get to it, have to engage. You want to make your product as engaging as possible, as easy as possible. So when they click on something, they don't have to go through 58 clicks in order to get to what they're finding. It's got to be simple. Remember the old KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. And if you can do that, you'll have success with it. So beyond that, I know this wasn't nearly as exciting as the Phillies 5-homer barrage last night, but I do hope you learned a little bit. And like I said, I open it up to questions if anybody has any. Sir.
We know what the cable is. Are you indicating that the national news, the national stations have a lean?
I think if you watch them, you can probably deduce one way or the other. There is a big disconnect between what the networks do and what the local affiliates do. Because we do not have a political lean. We can't. That's why we're the most trusted source. All of the owners. Yeah. You can't cross that line. Can't cross that line. I will say CNN started out as pure news. When they hit the airwaves back in 1980, they did straight news. Most recently, they have a new chief executive officer who said, we got to get back to the middle. Now we'll see what that means in the long term, but they want to get back to doing news and just covering news and not being the story. And I think that's a lot of it. And you tie in the social media aspect to it, it just dilutes what everybody's trying to accomplish. And we don't have a goal. We report the news, we present information, and that's it. We will not go down the opinion road. Doesn't benefit us one way or the other, because those who, for example, like Fox News, that's all they're going to watch. And you're preaching to the choir. And the same thing with all of those. Well, that's not our intent. That's not our goal. And at the local level, we just present news. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's our custom to present an honorarium to our speaker. This time, the honorarium goes to Angels of Assisi. Thank you, Matt.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And just so you'll know, Matt, a friend of mine, college buddy, teaches law at Wake Forest University, and he teaches a class in ethics, legal ethics, and he uses the Andy Griffith Show in his syllabus. I've audited the class. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I wish I was Opie half the time. Instead of being Otis, is that what you're saying? Thank you. If there's nothing else for the good of the cause, I declare us adjourned.